This is a Dude Studios production. And hey, I'm the dude.
Hey bartender, pass me a drink. A reason that I'm here is I need time to think.
Welcome back, people, to Hey Bartender Podcast. And sorry about the time off that I took for a little bit, but you know, it was needed. I really felt like that I needed to take a little bit of time off, relax a little. There's a lot of crap going on during my day job, and you know, it's important to sit back and relax for a little bit. I really do enjoy doing this show, but even when you have a career or something that you thoroughly enjoy doing, every once in a while you got to take a break. I mean, come on, don't you really? Especially with all the bullshit that's been happening the last couple weeks. I mean, I've sat back and watched things on Yahoo News and stuff like that of all the craziness that's happening out there, and I wanted to stay out of it because I'm your bartender. Your bartender, there's two things in this world you don't talk about when you're in a bar. One is politics, the other is religion, because not to disrespect anybody, but we've all got different opinions, we've all got different beliefs, and it will do nothing but start a fight. That's the reason why we don't allow that in our bars. Everybody that is a bartender, you got to keep that in mind. You don't, if you're looking forward to come in and say that there's a conspiracy somewhere out there because of whatever happened in whatever political thing that just happened, I really don't care. Keep it to yourself, because you're just going to start a fight in your bar or lose customers or make less tips. You've got to be the one that is the innocent bystander, you know, the person that takes that stance where it's just like, okay, you got a good point, shut up, what can I get you? But as a person, I'm just going to absolutely say there were some things that happened in the last few weeks that I am thoroughly, what's the word I want to use? I'm thoroughly embarrassed for the United States for the way it's happening. I don't know if it's happening in other countries, but we embarrassed ourselves in the last couple weeks. I'm not talking about any elections. I'm not talking about people's belief structure. I'm not talking about anything specific, but that was horrible, scary even to see that happening on U.S. soil. And it's just gotten to the point where it was like I treated like Area 51. Why do you want to go do that? Let's all head over to the bar for some shots. Yeah, let's just go to the bar, listen to some music, have a couple shots, have a couple beers, drinks, and I'll go have a good time. I mean, it's just that easy. And pretty soon you're going to forget what you were all fighting about and be singing sea shanties back and forth. Come on, sounds like fun to me. But enough of that. Let's get to today's drink special started. So you want to order a drink? Take a look at the drink special board. And today I pulled a drink off Instagram from catamaran.cocktails. They're in Jolly Harbor Marina and Boatyard. They call this the Greyhound Cocktail. Now, some of you out there say, Greyhound? You know, I've been making Greyhounds forever. Okay, this guy's got, or gal, it's non-specific on to who. They've got an interesting take on this, if you ask me. Now, here's what they say about it. The Greyhound Cocktail was originally made with gin. Vodka wasn't popular in the States until after World War II. According to a 1945 issue of Harper's Magazine, the cocktail was served at restaurants in Greyhound bus terminals, which is how it got its name. It's a very simple drink, but so satisfying. The fresher the grapefruit juice, the better. Adding rosemary turns it into something really special. Now, this person writes down the ingredients for this as if he's making the drink for two. Now, when I interviewed Jesse Singh from Famous Bartending School in New Jersey, he gave me a drink recipe that day and gave me the recipe as if you're making it for two, because you don't want to drink by yourself. You want to have a friend with you there at all times. So that's pretty much what Catamaran Cocktails did here. So just remember when I tell you these ingredients, it's for 2 drinks. And if you want to make it down for 1 drink, then, start practicing your division and apparently fractions. So, how to make the Greyhound cocktail as according to Catamaran Cocktails. You need 4 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of rosemary simple syrup, 8 ounces of fresh pink grapefruit juice, strained. Then how you make it. You shake it in a shaker with ice for 30 seconds and pour it into an ice-filled glasses. Garnish with rosemary sprigs and serve. Sprigs, not springs, because rosemary doesn't spring. Rosemary sprigs and serve. Quick instructions for the rosemary syrup is available on YouTube. Just look up Catamaran Cocktails. Check them out on Instagram. Then go check them out on YouTube. And they'll give you a little bit more insight on some of that stuff. Sounds pretty interesting to me. Just remember, they said the fresher the grapefruit juice, the better. So, if you don't have any grapefruit juices, grapefruits in your restaurant, if you're one of those type of bartenders that wants to do something special for one night only, head on over to the grocery store and grab a couple grapefruits, bring them into the bar, and, just something special for some of your customers, 1 or 2 of your customers. If you already know that they like grapefruit or they like Greyhounds, show them this different take on it. And if it doesn't go over well, I guess you're going to have grapefruit for breakfast for a little while. Sorry about that. So for when I recorded this podcast, we are near the Super Bowl. And everybody's getting excited. Everybody's rooting for their team or rooting for the team that they hate the least. Hey, it's kind of like a political election. But, everybody's getting ready to for Super Bowl Sunday. And, hopefully you're getting ready and hopefully your team's out there. But just remember, people, sometimes you got to be Switzerland when it comes to that sort of thing. Just not upset your bar customers. What was it? The World Series years ago, I think it was back in the early 90s or late 80s, where there was an earthquake. It was like, it was the Oakland A's versus, might have been San Diego or San Francisco Giants. It might have been the Oakland A's versus San Francisco Giants. And there were hats that were split half and half with both teams and both colors of the team on either side of the hat. I thought that was pretty interesting, and pretty much only bartenders would probably wear those. But, just remember, Super Bowl Sunday's coming up, and just have your drink specials up and ready to go, especially beer. So, anyway, yes, I decided to take a couple weeks off. Mostly because there's a lot of stuff at my day job that I had to take care of. I was getting a lot of stress from everything, and it got to the point where I was just like wanting to hide in my house and not do anything. It's just, I'm too tired, I'm too worn out, too angry, a little tired, a little wired. Gone in 60 seconds. But anyway, I just felt like I needed to take a little bit of time off because I love doing this podcast. I love talking to you people. And it's just became something where I knew if I didn't take some time off, the quality of the show would go down south. So and remember, people, we all love bartending. We all love serving most of the time. Bartending, we all love our jobs. And you got to remember, take a break every once in a while, because a job can easily turn into work. And work is a bad word. That's what everybody tells me anyway. And so, I mean, you come into work and your customer has a catchphrase. I had this one customer that every time he came in or every time he ended a phrase, he would always say, "Hello, baby." And I got so sick. I wanted to hit him so hard. Grab the muddler, shove it up his nose, whatever. And just stop saying "hello, baby." But then I took a week off from work, cleared my head, came back the next week, and I was like, okay, Yeah, go ahead and say hello, baby. Yeah, that's totally cool. That's up to you. But it's just the importance of taking a little bit of time off. So I can keep doing halfway decent podcasts for you guys. And I appreciate every single one of you. I keep looking at the stats all the time. And I am completely floored that I am being listened to on different continents, not just in the United States, but I am Hey Bartender podcast, maybe for only one or two people in various different countries, but I am worldwide. And that makes me feel really fucking good. And I've received a couple messages from some people that say that they love the show and they like it for because I kind of bring in a little bit of current events for America, some stuff that they normally wouldn't hear about in their country. And if you're looking to get your current events from Hey Bartender podcast, yeah, you might want to look somewhere else because I don't have all the facts and I don't claim to. I can sit back and say that I was thoroughly disgusted when the raid on Congress happened. Thoroughly embarrassed when I saw that guy dressed as a buffalo, and just all this stuff. But yeah, but I just remember I totally appreciate you. Thank you for listening. And remember, if you want to be a part of the show, all you have to do is just email me, dude@heybartenderpodcast.com. And if you just got a good story that you want me to read on the show, if you want to be on the show, if you're in a band that wants your sound to get put out there, email me, dude@heybartenderpodcast.com, and I'd be happy to have you on the show. Which, of course, speaking of having music on the show, if you stick around later on in the show, I will be featuring the single Impossible Weight from the band Deep Sea Diver from Seattle, Washington. So stick around for that. I've talked to you guys on and off about things about me, and because it's important that you get to know your bartender. Some bartenders, we don't give you all the information about ourselves, probably for some good reason. But in this case of the podcast, I'm sure you guys, and when you're listening to podcasts, you would like to know a little bit more about the person that's talking. Are they really that type of person that should be talking about whatever they say? Now, there's one thing that I don't talk about that much when it comes to doing this podcast is my own dating life. And the reason for that is I don't sit back and think people want to hear about this. This is, my dating life. And to me, my dating life is not that interesting. Here's a little backstory. When I was going to school, I was, put into a school that was previously an all-girls school. My parents saw the opportunity when they decided to let boys in. It happened to be right at the time where I was able to go to that school, so my parents could have both of their kids in the same school at the same time. Very convenient, easy. We're both getting the same education, whatever. But I was outnumbered by women my entire life. It seems like not so much anymore, but going through grade school, high school, I was constantly outnumbered. And when I got to high school, I was the first class freshman year that had boys in it, and the boys in the entire school were probably outnumbered 10-1. And for some of you people out there that don't know, that can be intimidating. And because you don't really have the opportunity. You don't have the right when you're outnumbered that far to sit back and say, well, you can't do that because you're not a man. You can't do that because you're a woman. And because it's ridiculous. You see all these women. The women that I personally went to school with, I've seen them do the most incredible, fantastic things that I don't think men can do, or the stereotypes that people sit back and think only men can do. I've seen them do strides above us. Now, that being said, after going to a school where the boys were outnumbered 10-1, And then becoming a bartender, I would talk to some guys in my life, whether they were friends or just people that I ended up talking to. They sit back and say, "You went to a school where you're outnumbered 10-1, or you're a bartender." And now, excuse me for the way I'm about to say this, because I'm repeating verbatim. They say, "You were a bartender? You must be swimming in the pussy." Okay, no, I was not. Why? Because I'm an idiot when it comes to being around women. I have no idea when women are trying to show me that they like me. I have no idea when women are put me in the friend zone until it's too late. I got nothing. And that's why I never gave advice on women. Guys that come up and say, "I need some advice on women." And I look at them and say, "Sure, as soon as I get some, I'll let you know." I'm not saying that I've stayed single all my life, because I haven't, but usually, well, like my friend Shannon always used to tell me, a woman would have to hit me over the head with a 2x4 in order for me to realize that they like me. But there are times where pretty much most of the time women have to make the first move on me. Otherwise, I'm clueless, and I don't do pickup lines. I don't try to, wear cologne or anything like that. What you see is what you get. And that's me. Some of you have seen me on some of the videos that I've put on Instagram. You're getting the genuine me. Maybe not the backwards hat. I don't wear my hat backwards that much. It's mostly a lighting thing. But I'm pretty sure, it all stemmed from when I started first discovering that I liked girls. And all of a sudden, starting from a young age, I was sitting there watching how what are these girls doing? What do they tick? And they become this huge study for me. And to the point where I am completely flabbergasted whenever I'm around women. And I thought for a long time becoming a bartender or even doing this podcast would help me be able to talk to people, not just women, women in general, but talk to people. And it has helped quite a bit. But I still treat women exactly the same way as I did back in high school. Back in high school, like I said, we were outnumbered 10-1, but I would always be nice to the girls. I would always compliment the way they dressed that day. I would hold the doors for them, but things in my head would stop me from asking them out or telling them that I liked them. My actions were trying to speak for me, like holding the door for them, or letting them go first in line, or the old-timey gentleman things. And I used the excuse for a long time that I wasn't going to date until I had a car. And because I didn't see the point of saying, "Hey, you want to go see a movie? Let's meet at this theater." And then because I didn't want my parents to drive us, I didn't want their parents to drive us, I didn't want to just meet up at whatever, it seemed kind of weird. And even though if we met up at the mall that had a theater at it, sure, we could have had a great conversation, maybe ate at the food court or something like that. But I just decided, I just not comfortable dating until I have a car. Maybe it's a control thing. And unfortunately for me, because of the cost of insurance for a 16 to 18 or 20 something year old male, is the insurance price for that was outrageous, and mom and dad couldn't afford it at that time to help me out. I really didn't date much at all until a girl that had a car asked me out. And she was very blatant about it. And so, of course, I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go out." And that ended weird. But, that was just my mentality at the time. So I gave myself the excuse: don't ask a girl out until you have a car. And like I said, it was an excuse. And there were other interesting times with through high school where it became, I would date a girl or hang out with a girl even. And, I think things are going well. We're laughing. We're spending time together. We're talking until the late hours of the night. And then a week, maybe a day later, all of a sudden they come up to me and say, I met the greatest guy last night. He's so cool. And we hung out all night. You would like him. He's just like you. And I'd be sitting there going, huh? What? Didn't we just, huh? And, then that whole idea in my head where I'm like, oh, he's just like me. Oh, you had me, but you decided to go with a guy that's kind of that's like me. Okay. I don't know. And things like that became getting thrown in the friend zone that easily, has given me like a little bit of PTSD when it comes to getting started back into a relationship, get back into the dating world, and which goes into the days of bartending. I always treated all of the women that came up to the bar with the utmost respect. I, would tell them, yeah, you look nice tonight, or hey, how you doing? I never was the type of guy that would say, so I get off at 11. What are you doing? Because my shift, I always closed, and my duties as a bartender took precedence over anything else. So even if the opportunity where a girl would ask me, which happened only once, ask me to go back to her place, I would sit back and think about it and I'd say, okay, she's going to go home. She'll be home by like 1:30. I've got to do all my side work. I've got to put the chairs up. I've got to finish all the dishes. I've got to do the tills. I'm not going to be out of here until 3. And then either she'll be sober or she'll be fast asleep. So what's the point? One guy even tried to give me advice that says, and told me, just close up the bar and then go over to her place. Once you're done, come back to the bar and do your side work. I wasn't able to do that. It seemed like a weird thing to be able to look at a girl and say, well, I got to get back to work and do my side work. So see you at the bar tomorrow, maybe. Because that seemed disrespectful to me. But I'd hear from other guy bartenders. Now, I'm telling this from the guy bartender point of view, just because I don't know shit about what the women point of view. Well, I know a few details, but we won't get too far into that because a woman should really be talking about that on her own. But I've heard from other guy bartenders. There was this one girl that I hung out with, I was in the friend zone with, and her roommate, who was a guy, would come home after his bar shift. She and I would be sitting on the porch, talking, smoking cigarettes, and he'd all of a sudden show up, run into the house, grab his toothbrush and toothpaste, and jump in his car and say, see you later. And that meant he was getting laid that night. Now, you have to kind of admit, a guy that thinks that far ahead to make sure that he has his toothbrush and toothpaste when he's going for a one-night stand, that's interesting, to say the least. And then there was this other guy who, I guess he took a girl home almost nightly. At the end of his shift, he would talk a girl into going back to his place. And he actually admitted to me that he's been trying, he actually said, yeah, I've been trying to limit that down to maybe 2-3 times a week, but, it just keeps happening. And I'm like, what the ever-loving fuck? Because part of me was sitting there thinking, how do you keep customers? But the other part of me was sitting there thinking, how the hell do you do that? I don't have a fucking clue. And I'm like 10 years older than you. But, some people would say I'm shy. Some people would just say I'm being respectful. But part of a good percentage of my bartending time, I did have a girlfriend. And I honestly never cheated on any girlfriend that I had while I was a bartender. Not that I can honestly say that the opportunity ever came up, because I really don't think it did. But well, some people might say differently that not that I cheated. No, that all the people would say that I'd have to relax for 10 minutes in order to get some play. But the I with the superpower of not having any knowledge of if a woman is hitting on me, the opportunity never came up, and not that I ever would have taken it, but it I think people just got used to me just being there, and so the opportunity didn't come up. And I treated every single woman with the most respect that I possibly could. I don't. There's probably, one of my old friends that used to work with me would probably say, "Oh yeah, this girl liked you, that girl liked you, this girl liked you," but I had no clue. They could tell me a name, and I'd be like, "What? Really? Why? How? What?" And but it's just it was me just being myself, the way I was raised, the way I treated women in high school. I opened the doors for them, maybe tell them that they look pretty that night. There was one girl that actually, she was sitting at the bar, and she was staring into the mirror behind the bar, primping her hair, and she's just shaking it out, primping it, shaking it out, primping it. And eventually it got to the point where I stopped her and I said, "Knock it off. You look great." And she goes, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry." And I was a little bit careful about saying that because that could be construed as me hitting on her. But I had nothing to worry about because she had interest in another customer that was already in there, and they ended up going home together that night anyway. She had absolutely no interest in me, and I'm pretty sure about that. But I would always treat all the women the same. I treated them with respect. I treated them with the respect that they earned, not just give them respect. I mean, I'd be nice to them at first, but if they do something to piss me off, I'm not going to treat you respectfully because you're not treating me respectfully. And like some people out there, I'm sure that would be a little bit meaner to some of the customers that have questionable lifestyles, whether they're say drug dealer, dancer, prostitute, I don't know, name something. I don't know. They, if somebody questioned their lifestyle, they'd probably treat them a little bit differently, but I treated everybody exactly the same. I was nice to them at first. If they weren't nice to me, then I wasn't nice back. Like one girl that I knew that was a dancer, she came into my bar and I was nice to her at first, but then she started the complaints. "Excuse me, is there any alcohol in this?" "Well, yeah, there's one shot of vodka in a vodka cran." She said, "Well, I can't taste it." So, but then after a few months, we ended up becoming not friends, but friendly to each other. Her boyfriend was a really nice guy. And, she started being nicer to me because I think that she was getting in trouble every once in a while when she was drinking too much. But all of a sudden, the pour that I would give her was all of a sudden satisfactory instead of her sitting there expecting me to pour, 2 ounces for 1 ounce price. But I can never understand the, how do I realize that a woman likes me? And there were, things that I sat back and thought, well, does she like me? Or is she's just tired of having her hair in her ear? Does she like me, or does she really, really like fiddling with her fingers? Or does she like me, or did she just want a free drink and show me her boobs? It was just all so confusing for me. And I usually have to sit there and wait and for them to say something like they like me, they're interested in me, because I was always totally confused. And not to mention, I never if I was interested in a girl and I was, thinking I would really like to get to know her a little bit more, I would start studying her mannerisms, and find out about her before even talking to her, instead of asking her straightforward. Because one thing that I have always carried with me my entire life is I do not hit on women that are in relationships. And, whether they have a boyfriend or a husband, I just want to be respectful to, because in times where I've seen girls that I've dated get hit on by a guy, it kind of sucks because the jealousy bone does go off. I don't care who you are or what you do in your life or how comfortable you are in your relationship. The jealousy alarm does go off in your head. Now, I mean, some of the stuff that I've talked about in this podcast, girls, if you are listening to this and hearing this guy, me, the dude, talk about these things, and you are even slightly debating on turning to your boyfriend who is a bartender and saying, does this ever happen? Do not do that, please, because all it's going to do is start a fight. Probably should have gave that public service announcement earlier in the show. But the jealousy bone does go off, and jealousy bone is almost worse than being in the friend zone, because it's a bad place to be and causes paranoia, and it just makes a relationship uncomfortable. There are times where I've seen a guy get jealous that a girl was talking to another guy, and I sat back and thought, you two might as well just say, so should we just go our separate ways? Even though that the guy was, just asking her, hey, how do I get to the Texaco station from here? And, you might as well just go your separate ways, because that's going to just be a big red flag for her that you are ultra insecure. And I am speaking a little bit from experience, because I do admit that I'm an insecure guy. I mean, I dated a bartender, and bartender women get hit on constantly, no matter who they are, no matter how big the neon sign on their hand that says I'm married, they get hit on. And if you're dating a bartender, you just have to accept the fact that they are getting flirted with, they're getting hit on, because they're a celebrity, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about that. If you say you have to quit your job because I'm tired of you getting hit on, that's just going to start a fight, and odds are the job will probably win. Yeah. Maybe a couple factors, like if there's kids involved or marriage or something like that. But yeah, showing insecurity, that automatically deducts you about 1,000, 2,000 relationship points. So you'd spend a long time building back up those brownie points in your relationship. Well, okay, people, it's my break time. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go out and have a smoke and a Coke. Mostly because that rhymed, and I didn't really realize that until now, and I can't drink. So, so during break time, I am going to feature today's musical guest. Today's musical guest resides in Seattle, Washington. They are called Deep Sea Diver. From their album Impossible Weight, here's the title track to their album Impossible Weight, featuring Sharon Von Etten.
This is what it feels like, walking in a straight line, straight talk clicking in my ear. This is what it feels like, cliff dive, broken mind, wondering how I got here. A million times tongue-tied, spit it out, never mind, I think I'm addicted to the fear. Stutter in my heart from the hurry of stop, dragging my heels around, dragging my heels around. But that dragging my heels around.
Once again, from Seattle, Washington, that was Deep Sea Diver with their song Impossible Weight from their album Impossible Weight. If you want to find out more about them, all you have to do is go over to bandcamp.com. That's where I search for all my independent artists, because there is a lot of great music out there that just doesn't get any airplay or get any attention from any record executives or anything like that. These people are, most of them are just doing it all on their own because they love it. So head on over to bandcamp.com, go check out Deep Sea Diver and find other music you might like, because there's a ton of it out there and you're bound to find something. So anyway, I just spent a little bit of time telling you how much of a wuss I am around women. And, you know, bartending and podcasting has helped me out quite a bit, because I'm able to at least talk to them. If just... You know, ask some of the girls that I used to go to high school with. There was a couple of girls where I couldn't even look in the eye. I, would just never be able to say hi to. And if I did say hi to them, that was a huge, huge anxiety attack for me, because I just wanted to be able to say hi. And some of them where they would just might get a couple words out of me, but usually it would just be, hey, you look great today. And that would pretty much be it, because then I'd be uncomfortable. And because I was wondering if they sat back and thought that was, why is he complimenting me? It does, does he like me or something? Ew, he's a nerd, which I am. But, I just had no clue whatsoever if a woman ever was interested in me. In fact, for some of you guys out there, girls might be entertained by this too. Here is how I am around women. I was a cable guy for a couple of years, and I went to apartment building to do an install, and I've got my my tools under one arm, and I've got my cable box under the other arm, and I knock on the door, and I hear just a second, and all of a sudden the door swings open, and there's this beautiful brunette standing in front of me, sopping wet, with a towel around all the tourist attractions, saying, "Oh my God, thank God you're here. I was worried I was going to miss you while I was in the shower." And I'm like, "Oh no, okay, you got me. Yeah, yeah, uh-huh." And so she said, "Okay, the TV's right over here." And I was trying to shake it out of my head that was like, oh my God. And because, beautiful woman sopping wet out of the shower, wearing only a towel, that didn't happen to me very often as a cable guy. But I'd heard stories from other guys. And so I go over and I install the cable box, and I'm about to teach her how to use the cable box and hand her the remote. And she put on a rope. I'm not sure if she knew, but I totally noticed the robe was see-through. I spotted everything, and it looked perfect. But I still handled it professionally and said, okay, here's your remote. This is how you operate on demand. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Please sign here and and then I'll be on my way. And the whole rest of the week, I was sitting there going, there was a beautiful woman, half naked, in front of me, and I didn't say one thing. Didn't make a joke, didn't hit on her, didn't do anything. Is there something wrong with me? Or am I just a reasonable guy? Or gentleman, say. Ugh, I don't know. But anyway, people, it is last call for alcohol. So come on up to the bar, or else you ain't getting shit. I don't want to walk all the way out to the pool table and bring you your beers. There's more people up at the front of the bar that want drinks, so you got to huff it just like everybody else. So special thanks to Deep Sea Diver for letting me use their song Impossible Weight. Go check them out on bandcamp.com. And I'd also like to thank Catamaran Cocktails for letting me, whether they knew it or not, give their rendition of the Greyhound cocktail. Go out and try it. And remember, you want to contact me in any way, shape, or form, all you have to do is email me, dude@heybartenderpodcast.com. If you have any interesting stories you wouldn't mind be read on the air, just let me know. If you have a drink that you would like to share with the rest of the people, just let me know. If you are a band and want your music to be aired somewhere, Hey Bartender Podcast is a great place to do it. If you want to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, both are Hey Bartender Podcast. And you know what? Before I go here, there's an interesting thing that I decided that I might want to do. And I want to know what you guys think about it. What if I, every once in a while, let one of my listeners, who is a bartender, server, anything like that, take over my Instagram for a night or two? Like you choose your night, a Wednesday or a Friday, and you can give shout outs to your friends. You can promote yourself. You can promote your bar. You can do whatever you want on my Instagram, as long as it's cool with Instagram, and just have some fun with it. So let me know what you think of that idea. Either contact me on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email me, dude@heybartenderpodcast.com. Anyway, people, thanks for being understanding about taking a little bit of a vacation. And but that's it for this show. And as usual, back to normal. I want to wish you all lots of love, lots of sex, lots of happiness, and don't take any shit from anyone. Good night.
What do you mean it's last call? I just got